Imagine this. You wake up to your fifth alarm of the morning. Before your eyes fully open, your fingers have already found your phone. The blue light hits your retinas like a drug. Just one notification, you tell yourself. But 30 minutes. Later, you're still scrolling, paralyzed in bed, caught between the dread of facing the day and the electric comfort of distraction. This isn't procrastination. This isn't laziness. This is the addiction nobody talks about. Not to substances. Not to substances. Not to alcohol or opioids. But to something far more insidious because it's invisible, socially sanctioned and woven into the fabric of modern life, the addiction to avoidance. The paradox of the empty room. Here's what no one admits. The more connected we are, the more terrified we've become of our own minds. Think of the last time you waited in line without pulling out your phone, sat through a meal without documenting it, let a thought fully form before reaching for a distraction. For most, these scenarios trigger something close to panic. Not because we're busy, but because we've forgotten how to be alone with the one person we can never escape, ourselves. This addiction follows the same neural pathways as chemical dependence. Craving, the itch to check, to scroll, to numb to. Relief, the dopamine hit of a new message like a viral clip 3. Withdrawal, the agitation when forced to disconnect, but unlike heroin or nicotine, this drug is free, legal, and expected. The question isn't, are you addicted? It's, what are you using to avoid facing? The ghosts we feed avoidance addictions always point to unfinished business. Endless Netflix binges, unlived creativity, obsessive news consumption, unprocessed existential fear, constant socialization, unfaced loneliness. As Jung warned, what you resist not only persists but will grow in size. The emotions we refuse to feel don't disappear, they metastasize. The ultimate irony, we believe we're seeking connection, stimulation, productivity, but in reality, we're practicing a daily ritual of self-abandonment, and the cost is higher than you think. Because this isn't just about wasted time. It's about the silent coup happening in your psyche, and the invisible puppet masters who profit from it. The phone isn't the problem. The scrolling isn't the problem. These are just the newest tools for an ancient human dilemma. Our terror of being left alone with the contents of our own minds. The Schopenhauer paradox. 2 centuries ago, the philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer observed, "Man can do what he wills, but he cannot do what he wills." This is the crux of our modern avoidance epidemic. We believe we're choosing our distractions, when in reality, we're fleeing something far more primal, the unbearable weight of unexamined consciousness. The neurological betrayal modern neuroscience reveals 3 disturbing truths. The default mode network, the brain's idle state, activates when we're not distracted, and it's precisely when we're most likely to confront unresolved trauma, existential questions, or creative impulses we've suppressed. Dopamine loops from digital stimuli are 2 to 3x stronger than those from natural rewards, like conversation or reading, physically rewiring our reward pathways. The Zeigarnik effect ensures unfinished emotional business, arguments we avoided, passions we didn't pursue, creates persistent low-grade stress, making distraction literally feel like survival. The social engineering of avoidance capitalism didn't create this addiction, but it perfected it. The attention economy. Your avoidance is worth $5.3 trillion annually, more than the GDP of most nations. Variable reward schedules, slot machine psychology applied to social media feeds, manufactured urgency. Notifications exploit our evolutionary threat detection systems, as Huxley predicted in Brave New World. People will come to love their oppression, to adore the technologies that undo their capacities to think. The Jungian shadow of productivity. Here's the cruelest twist. We've moralized avoidance by calling it multitasking, attention fragmentation, hustle culture, avoidance of rest, self-care, when it's really just numbing. Your shadow knows the truth. That's why you feel that pang of guilt when you mindlessly open apps during meaningful conversations, lie to yourself about just 5 more minutes, feel phantom vibrations from a phone that isn't there. The existential vacuum Frankel's warning rings, louder than ever. The more a man's search for meaning is frustrated, the more he gives himself over to pleasure or power. Our avoidance addictions are spiritual crises in digital clothing, failed attempts to fill what Pascal called the God-shaped hole. But this isn't just personal. The collective cost of our avoidance is already reshaping civilization, and the bill is coming due in ways few dare to acknowledge. The unseen consequences, you tell yourself it's just a few minutes, just a quick scroll, just one more episode. But while you've been numbing, something far more sinister has been taking root, not just in your psyche, but in the very fabric of society. The cognitive collapse studies on continuous partial attention reveal the average attention span has dropped below that of a goldfish, 8 seconds. Deep work capacity has declined 60% since 2000. We now spend 47% of our waking hours in a state of semi-awareness, present enough to function, but never truly here. This isn't just about productivity. It's about the slow erosion of your ability to think coherently, to sit with complex emotions, to engage in the kind of sustained focus that builds wisdom. The emotional ice age avoidance addiction creates a perverse paradox. We've never had more ways to express emotions, emojis, status updates, reaction GIFs, yet studies show we're 31% worse at identifying our own feelings than people in the 1990s. The result? A generation that can tweet about heartbreak but can't actually grieve, that can post about burnout but doesn't know how to rest, that consumes endless content about mental health while becoming progressively less able to tolerate discomfort. The relationship mirage social. Media promised connection, but delivered performative intimacy. 8% of people admit to texting someone while wishing they were with someone else. Couples who meet online are 45% more likely to break up within a year. The average person spends 14 hours a week crafting online personas that bear little resemblance to their real lives. We've outsourced vulnerability to algorithms, trading the messy glory of real human bonds for the dopamine drip of artificial validation. The political consequences, a population addicted to avoidance, is easy to control. Outrage cycles keep us addicted to politics as entertainment complex. Issues get reduced to clickable slogans. The average voter now spends less time evaluating candidates than choosing a Netflix show. Huxley's prediction has materialized. We aren't being oppressed by force, but by infinite distractions that make oppression feel optional. The spiritual bankruptcy, the most devastating consequence, isn't measurable in screens or dollars. 72% of young adults report feeling existential emptiness. Weekly silence anxiety, fear of being alone with thoughts, now affects 1 in 3 people. We've created a culture that pathologizes depth while monetizing superficiality. This isn't just changing how we behave, it's changing what it means to be human. But there's a way out, one that doesn't require deleting your apps or moving to a cabin in the woods. The solution begins with understanding that your addiction isn't your fault, but breaking it is your responsibility. How to break free? The system wants you to believe you have 2 choices: total digital asceticism, throw away your phone, live off-grid, guilt-ridden compliance, keep scrolling, knowing it's killing you. But there's a third path, one that doesn't require revolution but rewiring, the withdrawal protocol, not abstinence, not moderation. Metabolization. Phase 1, days 1 to 3. Notice the itch. When you reach for your phone, pause just long enough to whisper, "What am I avoiding right now?" Don't judge the answer, just observe. Phase 2, days 4 to 7. Create ritual gaps before opening any app. Take 3 breaths while staring at the icon. Watch how your body reacts. Sweating palms, accelerated heartbeat. Phase 3, week 2+. Practice conscious. Consumption. Ask of every digital interaction, is this nourishing, numbing, or manipulating me? Why it works? You're not fighting the addiction. You're studying it like an anthropologist would study a foreign culture. The boredom cure. Modern avoidance is essentially an allergy to boredom, but boredom is where genius lives. Daily. Prescription. 15 minutes of mandatory nothingness. Sit with a notebook, no phone. Let your mind wander until it hits something uncomfortable. Write 1 sentence about what arises. Science confirms. Boredom triggers divergent thinking, the same mental state that fuels breakthroughs. The attention audit. Your focus isn't gone, it's been colonized. Conduct a time inventory. For 3 days, track every digital interaction. Label each as essential. Work email optional. Newsletters. Toxic doom scrolling. The purge rule. If it doesn't nourish or educate, it gets 48 hours in digital jail before permanent deletion. The shadow integration method. Your avoidance addiction is just a symptom. The real disease is unprocessed emotion. Weekly practice. Set a timer for 20 minutes. Write a letter to your avoidance habit. Dear Instagram, I know you're protecting me from burn it safely, ceremonial destruction matters, Jungian insight. This externalizes the addiction as a separate entity you can negotiate with. 5. The digital architecture. Overhaul. Your environment is engineered to addict you. Re-engineer it to liberate you. Phone changes. Grayscale mode removes dopamine-triggering colors. App folders titled Tools, Productive, and Traps, Addictive, Notification. Autopsy. Only allow alerts that serve you. Computer changes. Browser extensions that force 10-second delays before social sites. Physical post-it on monitor. What's the cost of this click? These tactics work, but only if you understand the deeper truth about why avoidance feels so seductive in the first place. The ultimate revelation isn't about technology at all. The liberation of presence. Here's the secret your avoidance addiction never wanted you to discover. You don't crave distraction. You crave the terror-alchemizing power of your own, undistracted mind. The existential alchemy. Every time you've avoided boredom, you've avoided the raw material of transformation. That anxiety you numb with Netflix? It contains clues to your unlived potential. That existential dread you silence with podcasts. It's your soul demanding a worthy struggle. That relationship tension you escape through texting others. It holds the blueprint for deeper intimacy. Nietzsche was right. You must have chaos within you to give birth to a dancing star. Your avoidance has been starving the chaos that could have become your brilliance. The neurological miracle. When you stop numbing, something extraordinary happens. Within 72 hours of reduced digital avoidance, default mode network activity increases by 31%, self-awareness. GABA receptors upregulate, natural calm. By week 4, prefrontal cortex thickness increases, willpower, dopamine. Sensitivity resets, joy in simple things returns. Your brain isn't broken. It's been dormant, waiting for you to end the distraction siege. The shadow's gift, that uncomfortable stillness you've been running from. It's actually your ancestors' wisdom, the quiet that birthed philosophies, your body's intelligence, the pauses where healing happens, your creativity's incubation chamber, where ideas cross-pollinate. The modern world calls this doing nothing. The ancients called it the sacred art of becoming. The antidote to digital demons' presence isn't passive, it's the ultimate rebellion. In relationships, each uninterrupted conversation starves the attention economy. In creativity, every hour of deep work spits in the face of algorithmic manipulation. In society, every reclaimed moment of focus is a bullet dodged from corporate mind control. As Sartre warned, hell is other people, but only when you've abandoned yourself to their distractions. At the final invitation tonight, do this. Power down all devices at 8 p.m. Sit, facing a blank wall for 12 minutes. Set a non-digital timer. When the discomfort hits, whisper, "Show me what you've been protecting me from." The first thought that comes, no matter how terrifying or absurd, is your doorway. Walk through it. Your avoidance addiction wasn't a weakness. It was a misplaced longing for the depth you forgot you could tolerate, for the self you didn't believe you could face, for the life that exists on the other side of the scroll. The screen was never the enemy. The enemy was the lie that you couldn't handle what waited behind it. The blank page, the silent room, the unanswerable question, the unbearable beauty of your own unfiltered mind.